Hello, I'm Daniel diSilva, and welcome to Vilnius, Lithuania. As many of you know, Vilnius is where it all happened. Saint Faustina lived in Vilnius during the mystical portion of her life. That is, when she had visions of Jesus who appeared to her as Divine Mercy, just like in the picture that we know of today as Divine Mercy. The original painting was done here, the diary was written here. Over 80 times, Jesus appeared to Saint Faustina right here in this beautiful city. We're going to visit a few spots today that are important to the story of Divine Mercy, where all the things unfolded that we know of the story of Saint Faustina and the story of Divine Mercy. So just a quick walk around this beautiful city, and you're going to get the picture.
Daniel, what a surprise! What are you doing
Marvelous,
here in
Inesa.
Vilnius?
What am I doing here? What are you doing
Well,
here?
I'm walking in the footsteps of Saint Faustina.
Of course you are.
Yeah, because she lived here and she used to come to the cathedral to pray very often. So, and in 2026, we had this World Apostolic Congress of Mercy, the sixth one here in Vilnius, from June 7 to June 12th.
So exciting. Will you tell us a little bit more about it?
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
Okay.
The sixth World Apostolic Congress on Mercy will be held in Vilnius in 2026 from June 7 to June 12. And actually here in the Cathedral Square, we will start the Congress with the procession before the Holy Mass and later did the Eucharistic procession because it will be solemnity on the body and blood of Jesus. The theme of the Congress is building a city of mercy. And city is the place where people meet and where they have so many opportunities and different, circumstances to show mercy or not to show mercy. And actually Pope Francis, at the conclusion of the extraordinary Jubilee of Mercy, he invited us to promote culture of mercy, this way of life where no one is ignored, where the compassion leads to action. It means that mercy is not an abstract idea. It's a decision, everyday decision, every moment's decision to love, to reach out, and to build our relationship. It starts in our families, in our parishes, in our homes, and in our cities. During the first days of the Congress, we would like to invite you all to explore your personal story of mercy. What is your story of salvation, and where you experience love of God the most. And during the second days of the Congress will be like unfolded prayer of Saint Faustina, where Jesus, when Jesus learned her, instructed her how to be merciful in three ways: in works, in prayers, and in words. And so Saint Faustina writes in her diary that if I cannot, I can be merciful in three ways. First of all, in works. If I cannot do anything, I can help people by my words. And if I cannot show mercy by words, I can show mercy by my prayer, because prayer reaches where I cannot reach myself. So once again, I invite you all to come to Vilnius, experience this city, get to know this beautiful city, the city chosen by God to remind about His infinite mercy, to give the message through Saint Faustina and Blessed Father Michael Sopochko, and leave these tangible ways how to reach His mercy, the image of Divine Mercy, the signature of Jesus, I trust you, the prayer of Divine Mercy, and the Sunday of Divine Mercy. Saint Faustina writes in her diary that how strangely God arranged everything, because everything started here in Vilnius, and because in Vilnius Saint Faustina met Father Michael Sopochko, and because of his meeting, Father Sopochko became her spiritual director and confessor, and because of his meeting now we had the image of Divine Mercy. We have the Sunday of Divine Mercy and the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, which was dictated to Saint Faustina just a few kilometers from here, from the place I'm standing. Now this place is called the House of Saint Faustina. So it's really the city chosen by God.
just a few words from Father Povilas Narijauskas, the rector of the Shrine of Divine Mercy here in Vilnius. He's got just a few things to tell us.
Alleluia! Just a week ago we all celebrate Easter. And today, the second most important Sunday in the year. Why? Because Jesus wanted it. Today we have Divine Mercy Sunday. When we remember how important God's love and mercies in our life, all the world celebrate the Sunday in the morning of Sunday. We here in Vilnius, where is the original picture of Divine Mercy, we start on Saturday evening. Yesterday, around 3,000 people were walking in the street of Vilnius, from a gate of dawn to a Divine Mercy shrine, with a light, with songs, worship, with a prayer, showing to a world, at first to Vilnius and to a world, that He's risen, that He is giving light and life to us. Every year, more and more people is coming. And I hope that maybe next year you will be here too, in this procession, to show your thanksgiving to God. Because like just a few days ago I told, what God did to you that you could have your life, and what you can do that you would be here in Vilnius for Divine Mercy Sunday. Today, we already had the morning masses. We already celebrated not just in the mass, but in confessions. This is very important. This is a very big gift. Have a confession on Divine Mercy Sunday. And right now, a few minutes later, I hope we'll meet in the Mass in English, as every year. We are broadcasting it to all the world. What you need, just switch on your computer, your TV, and celebrate with us. But let it be maybe the last time you are doing this in your home. Waiting you next year for a whole Divine Mercy celebration here in Vilnius. And then later, you can stay longer, come to a Congress of Divine Mercy, again in Vilnius. Here, God gave us the prayer, and this prayer is still not in every lips of a Christians, and He wishes it. So pray Divine Mercy Chaplet every day, for yourself, for those who you love, and for those who are already passed. Be blessed, and you're welcome in
Vilnius. Here in Vilnius, we can venerate the original masterpiece of Divine Mercy, which hangs in the Shrine of Divine Mercy on Dominica Street in Old Town Vilnius, a very beautiful but small church. In fact, it's where we'll have Mass celebrated today from Vilnius here on EWTN in just a few minutes. Here is, in fact, a close-up of the original masterpiece, the loving face of Jesus, who told Faustina that the downward gaze he has in this painting indicates that he is looking for us from the cross. When we're at Mass, we are in fact present for the sacrifice of Christ on the cross. We are at the foot of the cross, which is where we'll be in just a few minutes when we celebrate Mass from the shrine here in Vilnius. There is no other painting quite like this one. And despite the fact that there may be hundreds, perhaps thousands of different versions of what may be named the image of Divine Mercy, there was really only one original, only one painting of Divine Mercy that Saint Faustina ever saw in her lifetime. And this is it. This is the Gate of Dawn. An icon of Mary, Mother of Mercy, hangs behind that window in what's a small chapel that's been venerated for hundreds of years. In Polish, they say Ostra Brama, the Eastern Gate. In Lithuanian, it's called Archbishop. And people from all over come to this very spot to venerate Mary, Mother of Mercy. You can see it says Mater Misericordiae above the shrine up there. This is a very special spot in relationship to Divine Mercy, and I'll tell you why. Father Michael Sopoćko gave his first homily about Divine Mercy from that very balcony. When he did, he exhibited the painting, the original masterpiece of Divine Mercy, from the window to my right. On your left, that window with the round top, that's the place where the original masterpiece of Divine Mercy was exhibited for the first time, not outside, but from the inside. Father Sopoćko didn't have permission to exhibit the painting in public. So the throngs of people that were here saw inside that window the 7-foot-tall masterpiece of Divine Mercy. They didn't know what they were seeing. They thought perhaps it's a new rendition of the Sacred Heart or a new painting of Jesus that a local had done. Father Sopoćko didn't say a word about St. Faustina or her visions or her diary. None of it was approved. It wasn't until 2000 that Pope John Paul II canonized St. Faustina as the first saint of the millennial. Remember that? In fact, John Paul II, our blessed Polish great Pope, came to this place to venerate Mary, Mother of Mercy. When he became Pope, when he was elected Pope, he took off his cardinal's beanie, gave it to his assistant, and he said, "Send this to Ostra Brama." And his beanie is still today in a museum behind that painting. His very hat, along with his rosary, was sent here. He loved Mary, Mother of Mercy, so much. He also loved Vilnius. Gate of Dawn. St. Faustina would have walked this very road, this very street, many, many times on her way to the cathedral, on her way even to her convent. She would have entered and exited the town of Vilnius over and over, right here on this very street, on these very stones. It's an amazing place to be here in Vilnius, isn't it? I want to welcome you again. I know everybody's saying this on this short half-hour video, but I want to welcome you again to Vilnius to come and to see all the places where St. Faustina actually lived, walked, and breathed during the mystical portion of her life when she was being visited over and over 80 times here in Vilnius, over and over by Jesus, the King of Mercy. It's difficult to get enough of Vilnius. You can see churches every 2 blocks. They say that Vilnius has the highest concentration of churches from any other city in the world. It's a very special place. We're going to visit with Archbishop Gintaras Grušas, the Archbishop of Vilnius here. It's Easter Sunday. We've kind of gone back in time, very much like the diary of St. Faustina. He's saying Mass here at beautiful St. Ignatius Church. It's the church where the military and police would attend Mass, and it's a church dedicated actually to the chaplaincy of the military. The Archbishop being the chaplain, he's saying Mass here today, but we're going to catch him when he comes out and just ask him a few questions about Divine Mercy Sunday, why it's special, and especially what's the significance of celebrating Divine Mercy Sunday right here in Vilnius, Lithuania.
Divine Mercy Sunday was something that was asked of St. Faustina and the Church by Jesus in his revelations to St. Faustina. It was to be established on the Sunday after Easter, and it was established for the whole Church on the year 2000 after St. John Paul II canonized St. Faustina. It was on that same day that he announced that from then on, Divine Mercy Sunday would be the Sunday after Easter. Jesus has associated many, many promises with Divine Mercy Sunday. He says that those who go to confession and receive Holy Communion on that Sunday will be pardoned their sins, whatever they might be, because of his great mercy. It is that day which he promises to open up the floodgates of his mercy for all humanity. So very important to be able to use that day to celebrate it. Here in Vilnius, the first Sunday of Divine Mercy was celebrated early on, before it went through the international for the whole church. The local bishop gave permission to celebrate it. But that was the first celebration. As a matter of fact, the first Divine Mercy Sunday, before it was celebrated as Divine Mercy Sunday, was 90 years ago on the Sunday after Easter, when Blessed Sopoćko preached a retreat at the Gates of Dawn. And for the first time, the image of Divine Mercy was exposed to the public so they could see it at the Gates of Dawn. Since then, since especially the canonization of Saint Faustina, it has been a growing feast. Here in Vilnius, on the eve of Divine Mercy Sunday, we have a procession of lights celebrating the resurrection, the events of the resurrection. And it's a procession of candles, carrying candles and torches, going from the shrine of Our Lady of Mercy, the Gates of Dawn, through various stops, including the Lutheran Church, and then finishing at the Divine Mercy Shrine, where there's an all-night vigil that continues on until the opening Mass of Divine Mercy Sunday. Since the revelation to Saint Faustina, Jesus once again is calling on the whole world to open their hearts to His divine mercy, to let His mercy flow, and to spread the message of mercy, the importance both of understanding God's mercy for us and to be merciful as the Father is merciful, to work in works of mercy, to pray for mercy, to share the message of mercy, because it is through that mercy of God that we are in fact saved. His death and resurrection was His greatest act of mercy for us, but God Himself is mercy, and He invites us to be part of that, to share and to receive His mercy. In a special way, I would like to invite you to come to the World Apostolic Congress of Mercy, which will take place here in Vilnius, June 7th to the 12th of 2026. It's a continuation. It'll be the 6th World Apostolic Congress of Mercy, and we will have a celebration of mercy, celebration of how we share the message of mercy, how we act with acts of mercy around the world, and how we can pray together for divine mercy. It will be both a celebration and a way of building up the city of mercy.
I hope you've enjoyed this quick visit to Vilnius, Lithuania, where St. Faustina lived. You know, she called Vilnius several times in her diary, "My beloved Vilnius." She really liked being here. We've enjoyed our visitors, some of the special places here in Vilnius, and from here, I'd like to invite you too. Someday, come to Vilnius, venerate the original image, walk in the footsteps